Hey there everyone, thank you once again for joining me for another episode of my Game Chat series. Now we're going to take a little break. In the past couple of weeks we've taken a look at Pokemon games, Tony Hawk games. I've kind of been following a trend here. Okay, we're actually going to break that mold today and just really throw things off the track, and I'm going to show you something completely else, something completely different. Today on Game Chat, what I'm going to bring to you are non-standard Game Boy games. Now, if you take a look at regular Game Boy games, the original ones that came on, the little square cartridges, the gray ones. Later on, they came out with black cartridges, little see-through cartridges where you can see the PCB, the controller board inside the chip or inside the cartridge. Game Boy Advance, yada yada yada. Moving on. So today I'm actually going to show you some of the games that are different. Some of them that they do not rely on the same regular square cartridge. Anyway, first I'm going to take you way back to the original Game Boy. Okay, so monochrome, black, white, or actually the original Game Boy is actually kind of green and white. But what I'm going to show you, and you might have already expected this, is this. The Game Boy camera. So here, I'll give you a closer look on that. Pretty awesome stuff. Yeah, so what is the Game Boy camera? Well, pretty much exactly what you would expect. It fits into the top of a Game Boy, and when you start it up, you're playing the Game Boy, the camera is directed right at you. But of course, the head of the camera swivels around, so then if I was playing it, I could point it directly at you. Take pictures of my surroundings. Now what fun is a camera if everything is stored on the device itself and you can never print off your pictures? That's terrible. That's a terrible camera. So naturally Nintendo came out with a Game Boy printer. And so that was actually a really neat device where it used technology very similar to your cash register receipts, where it utilizes heat to print an image onto paper. So these images, they're very low quality. Of course, you're talking about the Game Boy here. So original Game Boy games, terrible quality. Same has to go with the pictures that you can take on here. But it's pretty neat because the pictures that you take are good enough that you can actually recognize people, recognize certain things. Just terrible quality. So if you want to ask like how many megapixels does it have, maybe you should ask how many pixels, not even kilopixels, which is 1/1000th of a megapixel. I would have to say how many pixels, right? So terrible quality pictures, but it's a lot of fun to mess around with. You can actually make little animations to go along. There's a lot of strange features in the Game Boy camera, but it's just kind of one of those things where you'd have to check out yourself and just play around with. So it is a lot of fun, but based on other cameras that are out today, cameras that are on your cell phone, very limited, and it does get old fast, even if you do have the Game Boy printer. So anyway, let's move on. So that's the only game that I have for the original Game Boy. Next I'm going to show you a game for the Game Boy Color, and that is Kirby Tilt and Tumble. Yeah, I was kind of hoping, if any of my viewers were hoping I was going to show you this game. This is actually a really interesting game. So, the graphics, still very similar to the original Game Boy, but now they're in full color, or mostly color. Kirby Tilt and Tumble. This is very similar to, well, you might consider this like a predecessor to cell phone games. So, modern cell phones, modern smartphones, they have an accelerometer that can detect tilt and so on and so forth. In Kirby Tilt and Tumble, you set the game in the cartridge into your Game Boy, and as you would expect, you tilt it side to side, forward to back, and in the game on your screen, you actually control Kirby by moving your Game Boy back and forth. A lot of fun, really interesting feature, and in fact, that's actually how you control Kirby the entire game. There is a small three-dimensional element to that, and that if something is above the table that you're working on, or that you're playing on, to actually flip Kirby up, you have to flip your Game Boy really fast like that, and Kirby kind of shoots up into the air, and he can hit things higher up. That element plays a pretty significant role in this game, and I have to say overall, Kirby Tilt and Tumble, sorry, I'm stumbling over my own tongue. A fun game, definitely check it out. And this game is pretty easy to find. I got mine on eBay quite a few years ago. But if you're scouring through the Game Boy games at a used game store, just look for the hot pink label, okay? And so this is only for the Game Boy Color. It does work on the Game Boy Advance. However, the Game Boy Advance SP, on the Game Boy Advance SP, the cartridge slot is underneath. And so you would have to fit the game upside down like that. However, this game does not offer support for the Game Boy Advance SP because when they made this game, when Nintendo made this game, they didn't even know what a Game Boy Advance was. They hadn't come out with it yet. Okay, so play it on a regular Game Boy Color, regular Game Boy Advance, you should be good to go. Next game I want to show you is Yoshi Topsy-Turvy. Okay, this is kind of an interesting cartridge because it actually sticks out a little further than a regular Game Boy Advance game. And I'm going to get a little bit closer here. And we're going to get really close with each other. But anyway, what this game is, focus a little bit, yeah. Regular Game Boy Advance games are about yay tall. Now this one sticks out just a little bit taller, and that's just to include the information that the game requires. The extra hardware inside. So as you can see, the cartridge is green on the front, and it's actually white on the back. So this is a very unique cartridge, just because there are no other games quite like this. Anyway, in Kirby Tilt and Tumble, did I say Tilt and Tumble? No, Yoshi Topsy-Turvy. Wow, you're just gonna think I'm way off my ball tonight. Yoshi Topsy-Turvy works similar to Kirby Tilt and Tumble, except instead of tilting it back and forth, side to side, this one actually recognizes rotation. So you would rotate your Game Boy like so. This is only for the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Advance SP, and I believe it should work also on the Nintendo DS and DS Lite. Now this game, yes, they did recognize that the Game Boy Advance existed and the Game Boy Advance SP. So it works for the regular Game Boy Advance, sticking it in the top, and it works for the Game Boy Advance SP, sticking it in the bottom. And you can just specify in the game which Game Boy you're working off. So that's a great thing about this game. Regardless of what type of Game Boy you're playing, it recognizes them. Also, lest I not leave out the Game Boy Micro. Yes, it does work on the Game Boy Micro as well, which plays all Game Boy Advance games. Moving on, this is the last device I wanted to show you. This is the Nintendo Ereader. And what this is, yes, believe it or not, it is a Game Boy game, and it's actually almost the size of a Game Boy itself. Do not play this on a Game Boy Micro, okay? Game Boy Micros are tiny. They're about that big, okay? So if you stick that in a Game Boy Micro, it's going to weigh you down. It's going to be cumbersome. It's going to be weird, okay? What this is, this device fits into the Game Boy Advance like so. It is compatible with the Game Boy Advance SP, so yes, it does fit a little bit awkwardly because it'll be sticking out the bottom as opposed to the top. But the way that this works is this e-reader reads specific cards like this. This is a card for the Game & Watch game Manhole. And the way that it works is, I don't know if you can see close enough, this little strip of gray across the top and a little strip of gray across the bottom. These are actually a dot code. Now, on the camera, you probably just see a strip of gray, but if you looked really, really close, you'd actually see individual dots in there, but my camera's not going to pick that up, okay? How that works is you would scan it with the e-reader, and that works very similar to a credit card machine. I just dropped my card. So, put it in the slot, slide it through just like a credit card, and the game, while you're playing the game, it should pick up that code and say, okay, I recognize part of the code. Flip it over, give me the rest of the code. So you go ahead and do that. Once you scan all of the dot codes that are involved in the card, then it allows the game to play. So if I were to do that, then I could play the game on my Game Boy Advance. So that's a really neat game. Several different e-cards came out. Now, if you're wondering, these cards are no different than a regular deck of playing cards from Hoyle or Bicycle. So they're kind of flimsy. They're, I wouldn't say they're cheap, but they are paper. So You don't want to lose these. You don't want to bend them. You don't want to smash them, get holes in them, dinged up. Very easy to do things like that. So if your card's damaged, can't play the games anymore. Do they make the cards anymore? No, they don't. Okay? So hang on to your cards. A few different games came out. For instance, all of the original NES Donkey Kong games. So we're talking Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong 3. They all came out. But you would expect the programming to be a little bit more intense than just a regular Game & Watch game. And yes, it is true. They do have a bit more programming. So on games like that, they actually come with 5 cards. So 5 cards, 2 dot codes per card. You're talking scanning in 10 dot codes. That's really annoying. But the great thing is, the Ereader actually remembers the last game that you've uploaded to the Ereader. So if you wanted to play Donkey Kong, scan all 5 cards, that is 10 codes, into the Ereader, it saves it, and then if you come back another time you want to play Donkey Kong again, it's already in there. Now if I wanted to switch to Donkey Kong Jr., then I would have to scan all the cards for Donkey Kong Jr. Real pain in the butt, okay? One last thing, I said that was all the games that I had, but one last thing, this is actually kind of neat, is Mario Party E. So if you've played Mario Party, any of the Mario Party games for the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, the Wii, this game is a little bit different. And this is actually a card game that you sit down with 4 or 3 of your friends, so there's 4 of you all together, and you actually play cards. So think of it like Pokemon cards. This game's actually a little bit different, but similar to the Mario Party games where you have these objectives where it's like, oh, you got to play a little game on the TV now. What's actually pretty cool is some of the cards in this pack have the Ereader dot codes. So you can actually play the game, scan the dot code into your Ereader, and then play the game, and that's how you can compete against different friends. So that's a really neat idea. I've only played this a handful of times, actually probably like 2 or 3 at most. I think it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a kind of knick-knack thing. You probably wouldn't want to be like, hey, come on over, let's play some Mario Party E. You know, still a lot of fun. Anyway, that's all I have to say about it. But what I want to do right now, that's the end of my show for this week. I want to thank you for watching my game chat videos. Would you please leave me a comment down in the comments section. Ask me any questions that you'd like to know. Be like, hey, tell me more about that Mario Party E. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm a Mario Party freak. Tell me more, okay? I'd be happy to tell you. I could dedicate an entire episode to that. Also, hit that big red subscribe button that should be up at the top left-hand corner of your screen. Love to have you as a subscriber. Check out my videos each week. I'll be back next week. I might even have a surprise, but I won't promise anything because I don't know. Okay, but okay, hang with me. Okay, I hate making promises that I can't keep, so that's why I can't do that. I can't do that. But come back next week, check out my game chat videos, and thanks a lot for watching.